time do you usually go to bed?
Well, it changes from day to day, but I usually go to bed at around 10 or 10:30 p.m. every day. Not well, some days of the week I go to bed late. I sleep late when Flamengo is playing at night. So on those days I go to bed at midnight. But I'm not a night owl at all.
Uh, and what time do you usually get up in the mornings?
Well, I usually get up at around 6:30 in the morning most of the days. Today I woke up a bit earlier. I woke up before 5:30 a.m. This is not something that I do every day. However, I would like to start waking up earlier because I think I'm more productive during the day. The days I wake up earlier, I can do some exercises. I don't like to wake up and start working immediately. Like to take my own time, have a cup of coffee, read a few pages of a book, and only then I'm ready to start my work.
Talking about reading, what kind of books do you often read?
I am not the kind of person who's into novels. I never read novels. On the other hand, I really like reading books that bring me some kind of practical knowledge. For example, at the moment I'm reading a book called Financial Psychology, literally translating. I don't know if that's the title in English, Psicologia Financeira in Portuguese. So I can educate myself about money. So I like to read stuff about marketing, emotional intelligence, spiritualism, things that have a practical application in my life. That's my favorite kind of books.
How often do you. No, sorry. How do you often relax in your free time?
I really like to have some beer and barbecue. I like to be around friends. I like to be with you, chatting and well, I also like to ride the bicycle. It's something that brings me a lot of relaxation. I like on the weekend sometimes to go to a waterfall. This is very relaxing. Yeah, these are pretty much the things that I like to do to relax.
How many hours each week do you exercise?
That's a good question. Well, I would like to exercise every day or at least 6 times a week. That's my goal for the upcoming year. I hope I achieve it. But I must tell you that exercising is something that I've been struggling all my life to be consistent with. Um, but straight to the point, I usually exercise um, 4 hours a week, 1 hour each day, so 4 days a week. It's what I'm doing at the moment.
What kinds of music do you sometimes listen to?
I'm very eclectic. My favorite music genre is rock and roll for sure. I like uh, the classic rock and roll bands, the British bands like Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, and all the classics. But I listen to pretty much everything. I listen to reggae. I even listen to sertanejo, Brazilian music. I listen I like so much those um, the music from the 80s, those flashback songs. I have like this sweet memory of my father having some of these flashback ballads, romantic ballads like Roxette and others.
How do you sometimes practice English at home?
I practice English all the time. One of the things that I do a lot is to constantly ask myself, how do I say this in English? This is something that allows me to expand, boost my vocabulary. For example, I look at an object and I say, well, do I know how to say that in English? So I look that word up in a dictionary, and then I'm constantly learning. I'm also speaking to myself all the time. You might even think I'm crazy sometimes. I speak to myself in the shower, in the kitchen. Um, I watch TV in English. I try to include different, all sorts of activities in English in my everyday life. Okay?
Okay.
Is that
thank
all?
You.
Would you like to
That's
ask me anything else?
all. Oh, that's all.
Thank you.
you.